Oh, you guys, I finally have energy. I'm slowly gaining the energy, and the energy is mine as well. If you guys may have saw my video that I posted a couple months ago, where I was like, I'm feeling like I'm now feeling the positive effects of the healing that I've been trying to do for the past decade. Like I finally feel like, yeah, I'm in my body and I feel connected to it. I feel safer. I feel confident. But like now I don't have energy. Like I don't have the energy to gain and build community. I don't have the energy to chase after my dreams. I don't have energy to perform in this way that I feel like is expected or required in this system that's like, well, if you don't perform, bitch, then you won't ever get to your dreams, or you won't. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing for me, at least, and I feel like a lot of creatives. I love creating. It's something that I feel like I will always do. But I feel like there is this energy that gets placed on us through capitalism to where you feel like you need to be doing it all the time. You feel like it always has to be done in a certain way and to a certain level or to a certain expectation. And if you don't do those things, then you won't have food. You won't have a roof over your head. You know, you may not be able to have access to like certain things that come from healthcare and being able to take care of your family and just frolicking and laughing and being in this world. You know, I think that just the system in general, even when it's not in a creative way, in a creative industry, there is being asked so much of us just so we can gain the things that are ours, like the freedom, having a house, like a shelter over our head, being able to like if we're gonna be able to eat or not, like water and all this. There's no reason on why we should be having to jump through hoops in order to just for that. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm always going to create, but I just don't be having the energy to sit on here and do it a certain way and like looking a certain way and like doing all the content and the trendy audios. And, you know, I also don't like being in this energy where like, and I feel like I used to be in, because that was just like my like default out of trauma and outside validation and conditioning, to where I did, you know, do everything through the lens of like how people were going to look at me, what I could get out of that, you know, money and my ideas of freedom at that time. But for me, at least, as I'm going on my journey, not within just healing, but like my connection to creating, it's just not in these ways that I thought it was going to be in. I still want to be able to bring my imagination to life and be able to do that in the way that I see it, in the way that it feels internally, right? Which I think isn't in a way that I've been able to based off of like being in poverty and like all of that, right? But I also feel like there is this line that is crossed for a lot of us out of feeling like we must do something either grand, or we must do something that is like in the best lighting, is very clean or just trendy. So then people will look at us, and so then we can continue to do the things that we love without having to worry about food and eat, like food, shelter, etc. Shit that is really just our basic like birthright. But I feel like that's the same type of energy for other things as well. And is this expectation to do it in a way and to perform. And if you don't, then again, as a creative, I've always loved when other people have done stuff that has been grand, that has been like thoughtful and intentional, and that has took patience, and that does have like a very good quality to it, whatever, right? That's not what I'm saying. But when it becomes this expectation of that, or when you feel like you have to always just be in this energy in order to continue to do the things that you love, and if you don't, then it's like, damn, now my housing's being threatened. And like, you know, like for me, I do not now in my life, I do not need a life where I'm famous and everyone loves my art and all that. I just want what is owed to me. Okay? I want to be able to wake up and decide what I'm going to do with my day. I want to be able to have an understanding and a space and time to go through the ups and the downs of what it means to be human. I want to be able to be happy and to really experience and live in that moment and not feel like someone can take that away from me. I want to be able to mourn and to be in my lows and feel like I have time to do that. I want to be in charge of my life in the ways that I am in charge of my life, outside of stuff that I just can't control. But like, I want to be in charge of my life as I was supposed to always do. Like, I was always supposed to be in charge of my life. You were always supposed to be in charge of your life. And so for me, at least, what my life would look like when it comes to creating, and it would just because that's something that I do. It would be something because, like, even with just like talking and laughing and singing, everyone does that regardless if you consider yourself a creative or an artist or whatever. And so to me, it's just something that I'll always do out of my expression, out of just being a human being. And it's like then having to take that and like do this whole thing requires so much energy. And a lot of the times it is because people feel like they have to do these things in order to be seen, which they see that validation as something that's going to give them that freedom. I want to be able to create and just like not be thinking about it has to look like it has to gain the intent, the vision, the fucking fuck. It has to like catch the viewer's eye, and it has to, I don't want to think about that. I want to do things that just feel good and like continuing to value my authentic imagination and expression and doing it and being like, regardless if people like it or not, that's not going to get in the way of me having a home and like being able to feed myself and take care of my family and shit. So that's what I mean with performance in that sense. It's not that I don't enjoy performing in a fun, expressive way. So when you're someone who is in a chapter of your life where you just don't care about stuff like that, to where you really just want freedom, you battle with the fact that that is a part of it for a lot of people. You battle with the fact of asking yourself, how can you get to that version of freedom without having to perform, without having to be something that just isn't you. I don't want to work for friendship. I don't want to work for a community. I feel like these are just also things that we think we must do in order to be like seen and to be loved. And it's like, no, like there's people out there, and I'm learning this, that just love me for me, and I don't have to overcompensate. I don't have to do all these things. It's just we are there for one another. So even as I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you guys, it's like me having to think too, like what is considered like, is it that I don't have any energy to give to these things, or is it just I just don't have any extra energy? I'm choosing not to be in this idea narrative that I must overexert myself to get any of those things. And this is something that I'm just now thinking about. So allow me a time because at first I was getting on here to talk about how like I didn't have this energy to do things, and I didn't have it for so long, and for the reasons why I didn't have that, with like dealing with poverty, still regaining the energy that I have used to heal for the past decade. That being part of it, but then there being this other half of why I feel like my energy isn't where it once was, or what I was expecting it to be out of being this person who does feel like he does, have the foundation to go after the things that he wants and just have the life that he wants, and to be around the, people who care about him and vice versa. The things that once were inspiring me to get up and do things no longer move me, because it was always through a validation of like how it's going to look, what it's going to mean for other people. People are going to find me smart, intelligent, desirable, successful. And now that it has become more about like what I want, what feels right for me, the way that I go about doing things is just different. And it really is from the space of like understanding that yes, intention is important, and you know, getting up and doing things and movement and like all that is important. But where is the line of where it's like, okay, but I don't have to be overexerting myself. I don't have to be always constantly doing stuff in order to prove that I deserve these things. And I most definitely do not want to have to use my expression and my imagination, taking that and overexerting it and trying to do this thing in order to prove to people that just how I authentically imagine and express is something that is valid enough for them to support me and so I can have housing and eating and all, you know, and eat all this stuff and not have to do stuff that I don't want to do. When really I just want to create when I create, which it isn't a daily thing. I want to laugh, I want to lay down sometimes, I want to move, I want to, you know, do whatever. I just want to be. I was also going to get over here and talk about how I had watched this video a couple weeks ago and it was on ego death. And even though I have watched multiple videos on ego death, I've read many texts about ego death, but the way that it was just explained to me in this way, the way that they discussed it was very clear, like very resonating with where I was in my life, to where I had spent so much time, the things that did inspire me to get up and to like do the things and to like, you know, be very like, okay, it's gonna be good lighting and like super clean and put together and visually, you know, for people to like and stuff, was because of that outside validation, was because of like what it can give me and like hoping that it would help me get to freedom and all of these things. And I'm not demonizing that, but I most definitely am in a place now to where it's like, that doesn't matter and I don't want it to matter. I'm not saying that I don't care about people, and it does feel good when people see you for who you are though. That's what I'm saying, like for who you are. There is most definitely this freedom of always doing things though in the way that you want to do them, how they make you feel, etc. Regardless if anyone gets it or whatever, or if it looks cool or. So the video was talking about for so long you being in your psyche and everything being dependent on what other people thought and like what things were going to give you, that ego being that inspiration, that thing that got you up, that fire. And now that it's kind of like, oh, well, it's more about what we need, what we want, what feels good to us. And that inspiration and that getting up and that fire being like something that you have to pull from yourself, you know? It's such a difference than pulling from this thing. This video was me talking about that and talking about how like to not demonize myself and allow myself time to, you know, regain that energy that I feel like I need in order to do the things that I want to do. An energy that is being like, that is mine, that is, you know, that I can use to get me up and doing it again, because I know that and I feel like that is still something like, I know that, you know, at this point it's more about like, okay, if there's something that I know is going to do good for me, is good for me, whether that's eating healthy, movement, you know, all of these things, creating because of just how it makes me feel internally, how it feels like a release, and allowing that to be enough for you to get up and do that thing. But I think there's just because I'm still in the midst of it all, there is a difference between those two things. Like that thing feels so intense, that thing that's kind of like valid, that needs the validation of other people and like doing it because of how it looks or what you're going to get. Like that feels so, like felt so strong. And I probably, because I had a lot of like fear in there, a lot of impatience in, a lot of adrenaline, a lot of like whatever. As for this energy that is calm, that is sure, that is just wanting to do things that it feels good without any expectation, that doesn't always feel as like, oh, like that's enough to get you up. But it's just like allowing your body to get used to that and understanding that that is enough. And like even looking back on my pages now, these new ones that I have, because I had pages, I deleted them in like December and then got all new ones. But these pages have been me doing exactly that, to where I've been not really caring on how it looks, or like not needing to always post daily or like do whatever. It's been me getting up and doing these things when I actually wanted to. When I actually or when I just found myself doing it and I was like, okay, I can record this right now, And it not being about, okay, well, it needs to be positioned here and here, and like the light needs to be here and I need to be looking like this, And so you can see that most definitely throughout my pages of me just like doing stuff that feels good to me, but and I think especially versus the old Dequasi, who would probably looked at that and been like, no, we have to do it like this and this and this because this is how other people are doing it, or even just even if it is our authenticity, it's still being done in this certain way. So then people will see you always good lighting and just all of that. This is literally me right in this time. Again, I tried making this video earlier and it just wasn't coming out, it wasn't resonating really. It was, but I think because I have been in this energy for months, but I am still just unraveling it all. And as I'm sitting here and I'm actually allowing myself to breathe and then speak, I'm realizing that that's what it is. And this video isn't about, or this video, yeah, but what I've been going through isn't about searching for the time to where I have all this energy, right, that's going to give me this, or thinking that as time goes on I'm going to get back to that energy that I once have. It's just realizing that inspiration and that fire is different now. It's something that is yours. It's something that isn't movable. It's something that isn't again, afraid of what's going to happen, or what we're going to get out of it, or if it's going to go in the way that we want it to go, but doing it just because we want to. I most definitely was demonizing myself, and I'm sitting here these are the parts to me that I love. Because throughout my journey, I've had moments like this where I thought I've known something, or I have in real time will be doing something, and then I'll look back on that and I'll be like, oh, that's what that was. It's just so cool because in a way, it just makes me feel a little bit validated. It makes me just feel like what I'm going through is real. I don't know. Yeah, it was this was part of me, I think, that was getting on here just to kind of explain why I wasn't doing things in a certain way, as if that truly matters, as if truly, if I allow myself to be real with myself, again, yes, I do want my, the things that I put out there in my creations to be at a certain level that is for me, right? But there's a line to that for me, and outside of that, I genuinely don't care. I genuinely don't feel the need to do trendy stuff, or to look a certain way. I genuinely don't care to always be doing something. I genuinely don't care to just be a person of the system, a citizen of this. And I don't think I ever did care. I think that it's now that need for that outside validation is gone, I'm left now with just that true understanding that that's really what it is. And it wasn't about trying to find something else that can kind of regarner that thing that I was looking for, but just understanding that okay, we are now in a body and a mind that just is functioning properly and that understands really what the real world is about when speaking about how we should be moving throughout it on an energetic level and on a physical one. I still do pray though that I'm able to get to where it is that I want to go. Honestly, a part of it scares me though, because there's this part of me is well, what if we don't? And what if by doing this and by being yourself and not feeling not wanting to overcompensate and not wanting to perform and what if you don't get to where you want to go? Which is basically just not having to work jobs that I don't want to work, and not being afraid of my housing or food being like that, being something that I can't get, or like my mom getting older and me not being able to take care of her in the ways that I would want to. Having sovereignty over my own life in the ways that I can. But you know what? This is like, I'm sorry, I'm just here now, just like going through this with you guys. Because I, in real time, have seen the positive effects that I have felt of doing what felt right to me, of showing up as who I am, and applying the things that have worked for me, but not only me, for so many other people. Because I've been able to see the positive effects, it may not be like, tangible, physical things in this sense, but an internal change and shift from who I once was and who I am now. That is enough for me to continue believing that being yourself, not having a nervous system that is working properly, that isn't overexerting itself. And I hate that it has just been made to be something else, to where I even have to look at, basic human expression as like, okay, this has to be a job and I have to do this a certain way. Like, and I have to be doing it all the time, and I have to be like doing this and looking this way. And when it comes to friendship, like we have to constantly depend on each other in these ways that just aren't natural. Because I think that community is a beautiful thing. I think depending on each other is a beautiful thing. And that's what, that has been the superpower of humans in all species, of having a colony, having a group of individuals. But just like these different species don't have to do all of these wild things and overcompensate and do anything that isn't just naturally their makeup to have a colony, to have a community, to have, friend, love and support or whatever, safety. I also don't have to do that. Also, when you're just someone who's just a good person and you do, care about showing that you care, it just doesn't have to be in this, I just think that sometimes people, they rely so much on you. And so, let's say you don't text them one day or something, or you have your own life. And so they take that so personal. And I just don't think, for me, that is natural for me. I don't want that for my life, but that doesn't mean that I don't want love and I don't want community, and I don't want to be that safe place for people who feel like they can contact me and I want to be there for people, and I want them to feel that I am there for them. I still am needing to get up and move and do these things, right? I'm still wanting to do the things in my life that I would be doing if I didn't have to worry about all of the extra stuff. I want to have fun with life. I want to play with colors. I want to I want to have fun. I want to live. I want to experience. But this video is basically me just reminding myself and realizing, and also of the only change that was needed was of me realizing that all that who I am naturally, that isn't the fear, that isn't the trauma, that isn't the conditioning, that isn't the ego, and that is, we obviously the ego is a part of us, but isn't that validation? When it's literally just all of that being stripped and it's you of who you truly are, that is enough. And that person can achieve, and that person is worthy of community, of love, of food, of shelter, of being happy, of coexisting in this world and feeling the energy and feeling the wind and the sun. And you have everything you need. You have all the energy you need. You have it. It's just this world makes you feel like you need more. This isn't me validating my shitty behavior or anything, right? I think that it's important that we always feel what it is that we're feeling, being real with how we feel, what we're thinking, and what's around us. And then come to a conclusion based off of that, once that conclusion shows itself, which isn't always immediately or when we want it. This is something that I've been going through, all the stuff that I'm talking through with like my energy and kind of demonizing it and like trying to like understand and life and how I'm going to navigate it. This is something I've been thinking about for a while, and then this is me randomly again thinking that based off of what I've been kind of thinking, which I think is still like true, and it still plays such a major part in what I was going to be talking about, because I'm still talking about it, but just in such a different way that isn't about being like, okay guys, well the thing is like, yeah, like I'm just gonna gain more energy like in those ways, you know, I'm gonna just become like another version and have this energy that is whatever. It's more about, does this make, guys? It's just another video basically of like, you are enough. I am enough. And I guess also I'm just praying that that is true, because so much in this world, you know, I internally feel this, but a lot of the time I do not have control of my surroundings based off of a system that has been man-made that makes it that way. And so I'm praying that me, the universe, and God, and those that also resonate with this, we will align and we will be able to really live in an energy and in a state that reflects the universe, that reflects God, that reflects like all the other species on this planet. And by doing so, we'll look around and we'll one day see the life that was stolen from us. I hate to be dramatic, but it's so true. The life that was stolen from all of us. That's all I have right now. I'm just gonna let life continue to life. I'm going to, you know, let things come up. If there's anything else that I need to add to that, I will in the future. But also, this is a major thing too, of like allowing yourself to believe in what you know to be true in that moment. If it changes, that's okay. Don't demonize yourself. You're human. You're just trying to figure it out. But understanding that that moment that you feel those things have power and have value, because you have allowed yourself to be real with yourself. You've allowed yourself to ask questions. You've allowed yourself time to really sit in that and you know, ask yourself if that's really what is happening, if that's really true. And so it's okay to act in that. If you end up going off the road, you'll make your way back on it, as you always do. So yeah, that's it for now. That's it for now, guys. Thank you. If you even watched any of this, this is just me documenting the human experience. Don't know where this will take me, but it feels good to like go through it sometimes, you know. It feels good to take what you've been going through for so long and then putting it into words. That really does, I think that is a beautiful way. That is one of the only things that I think has come out of taking words and making and giving them meaning and value, is because it is a way for us to kind of understand in another way that really just validates what we're feeling internally. And you can always feel that. Like when you guys talk, do you guys like, when you're saying stuff that you believe in or whatever, do you not feel this inner thing kind of reacting to those words as you're saying it, or is it just me? But I feel like I can always tell if I'm like lying or if I'm trying to rush a thought, if I'm trying to rush something and just say something, and when it's really just how I feel, even if that feeling changes, you know, in the future, it is something that is in that moment still very real. Okay, I'm done talking.